Right, all right. Okay, we didn't plan this at all, but today the service standard that we are talking about is be the person everyone wants on their team. We need to think we need to think? No, no, no. We need to change the way we think about success. Okay. Call and response. You guys ever know what that is? Anybody that grew up Baptist? So I'm gonna say a word, and then just as many people as you can shout out something to me. So I'm team. Okay, okay. Dream team. Okay, okay, okay. Teamwork. Okay, good. If I say greatest team, what's the first word that comes to mind? I'm just so teaching. Thank you. Thank you. Honest answers there. Yeah, I think if we're be honest with ourselves, most of us, when we hear the word team, would typically associate that psychologically with athletics, right? Um, and that's the truth. Most people, their only exposure to teams and teamwork growing up is through sports, baseball, football, basketball, because most of us are taught that what you do in school and life is all about your performance, right? Very golf minded, even though you may be on a team, or tennis minded, or my sport, track and field. We didn't run a team. The relays, but what mattered was you doing your stuff. And interestingly enough, if you look at the human race as a species, the reason we're set apart not only from a neuronal development perspective is because of teamwork. It's because we were grouped in groups, in tribes, and we could work together. We were talking about this earlier, that the reason that the human race is so successful is because you took responsibility that was individualistic, like gathering, protection, shelter, warfare, and you delved that up among members of a community. Like, you're going to hunt, you're going to grow food, you're going to be the builder, you're going to be the leader, you're going to be and we separated everything so we could all I would take my part. And those groups, those communities, those tribes were the most successful. Harvard actually did a study. They started in like the 40s or 50s, and they looked at people right from the day they were born, and they tracked them all the way until late adulthood. And the one thing that set the most successful, and all kinds of endpoints: cardiovascular disease, pulmonary health, mental status, financial well-being, family size, every success metric that you would measure sociologically was predicated on one idea, and that was how healthy were their relationships. If they were in good community and they had good relationships, cardiovascular risk went down, long-term, like longevity was longer, wealth was higher, outcomes were always better in community. But it's interesting because when we grow up, we're really taught that life isn't really a team sport. It's like these are your grades. These are your responsibilities. These are the things that you need to do. But if we think about that, it's like, how can I be the best individual I can be, right? When you approach life, especially from I just graduated from school, it's like, I need to get a job. And then once I get that job, then I need to think about where I'm going next. And then I need to build up my resume. I need to build up my CV. I need to get experience. I need to do research. I need to get a management position. And we shouldn't blame ourselves for thinking that way, because honestly, up until this moment, that's what you've been taught, right? I need to get a grade in history. I need to get into college. I need to get in graduate school. There's no team effort in any of that, right? And now you get thrust into a workspace, and all the stuff we learned from a tribal perspective on how to do life well or how to be successful, it's like now we got to relearn it a little bit. So that's why this is one of our service standards, because if we don't think about it differently, we don't really function. And then we start to just continue to work and train for individual work. Right? And then I've got one person that's really great at one thing, but you've got a bunch of people that aren't like-minded, and everybody's just trying to accomplish their tasks to the best of their ability, and I don't really care about what you're doing. I don't care about what you're doing. I just got to do my job and do it well and get promoted and get a raise or get a bonus and then move forward. And though that can create temporary success, it doesn't lead to the best outcomes culturally. You start to get a lot of siloing, people not making decisions for the right reasons. And so if we think about that, okay, one of our service standards is be the person everybody wants on your team. Well, that's kind of nebulous. What does that even mean? One of my favorite teachings on this is from an author. His name's Patrick Lencioni. He wrote the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And he wrote another book called The Ideal Team Player. And The Ideal Team Player, wonderful book. If you have never read Patrick Lencioni, I highly recommend it because all of his reading is not like a textbook. It's like an allegory. It's like a story. He teaches you throughout the story. Is ideal team players have three primary qualities. And those primary qualities are these. They are humble, they are smart, and they're hungry. And what you're going to notice on here is, first of all, this type of smart is not the type of smart that you would think. It's not IQ, it's EQ. Actually, there's been a lot of research on this. The number one predictor of success in a workspace isn't how intelligent you are, it's how emotionally intelligent you are. When they look at the most successful managers and they compare them across all disciplines, the one thing that's consistent is they have the highest emotional intelligence. Their intellectual, like their IQ is all over the board. You have some low IQs, you have some high IQs, but most people have a really, really good EQ, their ability to interact with others. So what does that mean? Well, this means that all of these things, humility, hunger, emotional intelligence, all of those things can be learned. And if we learn them, then we have the best team outcomes. We can learn how to be the best teammate, how to be the person that everybody wants on their team. And the truth is, this isn't your only team, right? You have a family. That's a team. You've got a church community. That's a team. You've got social groups. Those are teams. Those are people working together, doing life together, being together. All of these attributes make you a positive contributor to that team. And it doesn't have to do with like intelligence. It doesn't have to do with ability. It doesn't have to do with your ability to execute a plan or hit a KPI. It has everything to do with how you approach situations. So we're going to walk through these and talk about how you can develop yourself and how your teammate can help you develop in these areas. So the first one is humility. And think of humility as a lens to how you approach life. Two options. I can look in through it the lens of me, how does this decision affect me? How does this decision affect what I do? Or I can look at it through the lens of we, us, right? And it's really like taking time to say, I'm not going to look at life with a me-centered lens. I'm going to look at life through a we-centered lens. That not that I'm not important, but that it's important for me to focus on the needs of others. Not from an emotional intelligence perspective, but I'm just not going to put my needs first. I'm not going to not consider my needs, but I'm going to make sure I think about this as it relates to the whole. It's also being confident. It's also saying to myself, hey, like, I'm going to acknowledge my pride. This may not be the best for me, but if we can accomplish this, then we collectively are going to succeed. But it's not being quiet either. And so C.S. Lewis famously said that humility is not thinking of less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. So when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to looking at a situation, hey, is this the best decision for the team, or is this the best decision for me specifically? That's an emotional choice we are each able to make. The next one is hungry. And hungry is exactly what it sounds like. It's, am I driven to work hard? Do I want to do things for the sake of completing work excellently, or completing the project, or doing what I should do? Am I doing enough? A lot of times we find ourselves in the situation when we see someone not working as hard as us, is not wanting to confront them, or not wanting to call them out, or not wanting to say, hey, that's not the best work, because we feel this sense of like, we don't want to condemn someone. But every time we say that, or every time we don't say that, what we're doing is we're condemning ourselves to the extra work. Because, work is like a teeter-totter, right? And if we distribute it evenly throughout the team, then the effort I put in is equal to the effort that you put in. But the moment we allow people to compromise on what they do, and we don't have some people that are working as hard as others, instead of, if I don't say anything, now I've tipped the scale, and I'm working harder than you are. Not because that I should be, but because I'm not saying anything. Because I'm not saying, hey, we need to really show up. Be the ideal team player, right? And so the question you would ask yourself is, are you doing just enough, or are you truly hungry to improve? And the last one, pretty simple, is not only a desire for excellence, but are you people smart? And the difference between humility, or thinking of yourself less, and being people smart, I would just say in one simple phrase, is reading the room. Being able to interact with other people emotionally well. And if you want to know, do I do this well? You ask yourself one question, that is, do people feel better or worse after interacting with you? Are you able to encourage someone? Even if you have to give them a piece of bad news or a piece of hard feedback, can I do that in a life-giving way? Like, hey, that's not where it needs to be. That's not the mark. Now I'm here to help. How can I help you get there, right? Or that wasn't the best. That's the problem. You're not the problem. It's all in how I interact. It's all in how I communicate. It's all in how I deliver that, right? So if you think about those three things, those are simple deliverables, right? Not thinking of myself first, making sure that I have the right attitude when it comes to my work ethic, that I'm doing a little bit more than is expected of me, so I'm carrying my weight. And really just thinking about how I say things. Am I delivering this with the right heart? Or am I getting angry? Am I tearing somebody down? Am I going after somebody's character when I give them feedback? Now, that we know the difference between these things, it's important to understand, like, how you deliver, the time, toning, body language. But there are specific types of deficiencies in each of these areas. The first one is what we call the mess maker. So the mess maker, their deficiency specifically is not really understanding how to be people smart, right? So they may have a big hunger, and they may really, really have a lot of humility in their heart, but they just don't know how to interact. So they don't always say the right thing at the right time, or they step on somebody's toes, or they don't really interact with patients well, like they should be. This is our person that's like always kind of doing this, right? Oh gosh, I can't believe they said that, or I can't believe they wore that, right? Just not making the right decisions at the right time. So they're just deficient in one area. The next is the lovable slacker. So this is our person that's got a lot of good, they don't think of themselves first. They think of others first. They definitely have a lot of humility. They have some good people skills, but at the same time, not the most hungry, right? They're the ones that go home at like 4:58, right? It's like, oh, I'm done. Well, let's pack it up and go home, right? It's the person like, man, so much fun to be around, but please don't ask me to do this extra work, because it's just like I can only do so much, and I just get super tired and I have to sit down. Last one is the skillful politician. So this is somebody that really understands how to interact with people and definitely is hungry for success, but not the best at humility. Thinks about themselves first. Really says to themselves, life's all about me, and I'm going to do a lot of work. I'm going to work really, really hard. I'm also going to make sure that I interact with people well so I can get what I want. But at the end of the day, let's be honest. It's about this person, number one, right? So these are the three characteristics, or the three personality types that you'll see in people that aren't able to, that have a deficiency in one area. Now, a lot of times it's not true of all of us. We have small deficiencies in two areas, or we have a weakness in one area, and they may not manifest this way. But the best thing about this framework is that each of you can be your own coaches. So this is what I want you to do. For just a second, I want you to take a moment, and I want you to think to yourself, which of these areas is my weakest? On a scale of 1 to 10, write this down, right? Humble, hungry, and smart. And then rank yourself 1 to 10, 1 being your lowest, 10 being your highest. And write one sentence about why you'd say that about yourself. Why is this a 3? Why is it a 5? Why is it a 7? Whatever number you give yourself. Take some time to do this. And then here in just a second, before we go to our breakouts, we're going to take about 6 minutes. We're going to break off into groups of 4 or 5. And we're going to share with each other, especially with those around you, which one is our lowest. And also, we're going to have each other share if they think that's accurate, or if there's something they think that you're missing out on, or something you're not seeing. Because ultimately, if we want to be the best team, we can invite others to show us where we're deficient so we can improve, where we aren't hungry, or where we aren't humble, or where we're not the most emotionally intelligent. So, whenever you have the morning thought of be the person that everyone wants on your team, here's the graphic I want you to use. You can take a picture of this again if you need to. But these are the 3 deliverables, right? So number 1, you just want to think about others more than yourself. Work hard, do your best, and be emotionally intelligent. Those 3 things. And those are the most important three things, right? It's not about being having the highest IQ, working the longest hours, being the best allergy test giver, or being the highest or most accurate coder or biller. It's about being these three things. Okay, so take a couple minutes, and then we will break off into groups of 3 or 4, even 5 if you need to, and then just share what you think is your potential lowest, even what your highest is, and then get some perspective from your teammates as well, and then we will go